I'm very grateful to be here with you this evening. I have walked with Chesterton Academy of Orlando since its inception, and I have long waited to come and see the great fruits that have been happening in your community and at your school. I'd like to thank the board for inviting me and for the head of school for this wonderful evening and this beautiful program. I appreciate especially Mr. Hickel's very clear and concise explanation of classical Catholic education, a theme which is near and dear to my heart. I'd like to build on his wise words and add a few experiences that highlight the impact of classical Catholic education. As you start graduating your students, you will have many of your own stories. But let me share a glimpse into the impact you can expect to see over and over and over again. Classical schools, as Mr. Hickel reminded us, are arranged around the three Transcendentals, three facets of reality that transcend the ordinary: truth, goodness, and beauty. And these three elements are aspects of what it means to exist. These are fundamental at the core level. So when we speak about truth, we talk about the truth of existing and the goodness that comes from existing according to the Maker's design, and the harmony that we see between that reality and that design. We see that as beauty. But how can we be transformed by an encounter with these essential aspects of being, through an encounter with truth, through an encounter with goodness, through an encounter with beauty? How can we speak of a transformation? Let me start by answering and sharing my own personal experience, and then hopefully give you a few examples from some of the countless students that I know have gone through the same transformative journey that I experienced. I was a rotten kid. I developed a shocking array of vices in high school. In fact, it was probably my most impressive accomplishment during my teenage years, the degree to which I managed to be bad. Being bad is somewhat relative. When you study moral theology, as you do senior year at Chesterton Academy, you know that the catechism gives some latitude to conditions that might decrease your culpability. Emotional immaturity, which some might say is code for being a teenager, could be one example. But what shocked me during my journey about my vicious life is how consciously unhappy I was while doing it. I purposefully did what the world told me to do in order to be happy, and I was very confused by the knowledge and self-realization of how unhappy, how deeply unhappy it made me. Into this very sad picture one evening, God broke through with violent, unstoppable love, and I was powerless, gratefully powerless to resist him. This encounter sent me on a journey where I sought to know fully and completely this source of almighty love. Eventually, I landed on a campus of a classical liberal arts Catholic college in Virginia, which is an environment similar to what you have created here at Chesterton Academy of Orlando. Their catchphrase now is "breathe Catholic air." And I can say that this phrase perfectly captures my experience. It was like being on a foreign planet with different atmosphere. I remember quite clearly catching my breath the first night I walked on campus and met the people who to this day remain my dearest and most important friends. The people who would journey with me at an almost ontological level on this difficult and beautiful journey of life. I was transformed by their goodness. I was transformed by the beauty around me, the beauty of the liturgy, and the truth that happened in the classroom. I was transformed by experiencing reality in its fullness, not in the perverted way that I had tried to recreate through my sin, but in the fullness of what it was as God intended and created it to be. And this fullness gently washed over me during the 3 years that I attended this college. It repaired me, it healed me, it strengthened me, and most of all, it surprised me. I was transformed by the full truth of being, the beauty of this fullness and its interconnectedness to all of reality, and the goodness that comes from responding to the created reality, accepting it, cherishing it, without trying to recreate it or reform it in what I wanted it to be. It changed my life and led me to the world of the unstoppable heavenly love that I had once encountered in high school. The Transcendentals, truth, goodness, and beauty brought me home to where I had always yearned and longed to be, within myself, where Christ awaited me. This experience happens over and over and over again at Chesterton Academy. I've seen it myself as the director of a Chesterton program and as someone who has helped found over 30 Chesterton Academies. I can tell you when you will start to see it. At the end of sophomore year. I can tell you how each of the books, the themes, the narrative arcs impact the student experience. It was my job as director of the curriculum and instruction to ensure that everything that the students studied and why they studied it and when they studied it helped build and reinforce this experience. Let me give you just one or two examples of these powerful transformations. One student I know entered the Chesterton program because he liked to read and he knew nothing about classical education. Yet he was so transformed that upon graduating, he applied to enter the seminary, something that he had never previously considered growing up in a culturally Catholic family in South Philadelphia. At that time, the school where I worked, Cardinal O'Hara, an archdiocesan school with about 1,000 students, of which 100 were in my classical program, had produced many vocations over the years, including the current Bishop of Arlington, Virginia. But O'Hara had not had a student apply or enter the seminary in 18 years. This Chesterton student was the first, and there was another soon after him, both from the Chesterton program. I feel like religious vocations are such a palpable evidence of this transformation. There are many, many stories of student transformations by the Chesterton model and curriculum, but you are writing your own stories. Your teachers and staff can already attest to this, and soon you will have your own graduates who have already started to witness to this transformation themselves. This is the beauty of what we do, the goodness of what we as teachers experience every day in the classroom, and the truth that has burst into our lives, into our minds, and into our hearts. A truth that we are powerless to resist, a truth that transcends this world and transports us deeper into ourselves, into the divine life within us. Let me conclude by speaking to the reality of another transformative love that we all experience, the love of our mothers, a love that shapes us, forms us, and guides us. So let me wish all the mothers here today a happy Mother's Day. You are a blessing to us, and we are very grateful today and every day. And lest we forget, let us show special gratitude to Holy Mother Church and to Mary, our Heavenly Mother. Thank you so much, and may God bless you on this beautiful and exciting journey at Chesterton Academy of Orlando.